It is 10:08 at WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast. Heard worldwide on WPSL.com, on Alexa, on Google Home, through TuneIn. Want to welcome about 250,000 of our close friends who happen to be listening this morning. Money Info coming back from a little hiatus, and they picked a great day. Timing is impeccable for both Charles Moskowitz and Mike King, because the market's gone to hell in a handbasket. Hey, welcome, guys. Oh, what are all these reds I'm seeing? Huh?
Well, the market's down almost 2%, actually. I take that back. It's down 443, down 1 3/4%, and NASDAQ is down even more than that. This is partially that imbecile in Washington, and more specifically, a couple of very high-profile earnings beats and misses. Caterpillar has a tremendous miss, as did 3M. On the upside, we have McDonald's up $9.50 on an earnings beat, which was fairly substantial.
Well, the big one though? Wasn't that because of the tariffs?
Well, it is and it isn't. It's not because of tariffs, because frankly, most of the tariffs have not gone into effect. But the concern about them is, just getting a little worse every day. I'm assuming that there are going to be some Republican announcements before the election, which is only 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from today, actually. But it's kind of an interesting market. I mean, we're going to get to the point where we were a couple of weeks ago, where, we get 9-to-1 advancing, declining volume, and, it gets to be a blow-off. So right now, NASDAQ, as I said, NASDAQ's the big loser. It's down almost 2.5%. Oil is down almost 3%. And so there's a fair amount of pain here. Oh, and of all things, the one big up stock is Tesla, up almost 16, so 6% up.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now that whatever that crazy tube thing is that Musk is working on in L.A. is supposedly getting close to testing.
I guess.
That's going to be
wild.
mean,
the thing is, it's not an outrageous idea. I mean, while the Saudis just walked away from it with Great Britain and, one of the Virgin companies, so it's not like it's a pipe dream that we have. There are several people, several major places around the world who are interested in doing it and are interested in funding it. So last week, Branson, who really is more of a front man than anything else, came out with the statement that he wasn't going to go to that Saudi conference after the journalist Khashoggi was, murdered. The Saudis came right back and said, okay, well, we had this joint venture with you guys, not so much anymore. So, it is kind of interesting, and certainly L.A. would be a great place for it, especially, the L.A.-San Francisco corridor. But,
oh, yeah. Boy, would that be a dream. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that's kind of interesting is the gold is up about $17 today. The comments in last night's Daily Note and in the video that went out with the weekly strategies letter was looking at that as having broken out to the upside and gone through roughly an 8 or 10 day consolidation, and now has come out of that and is higher. There's really not much in the way of resistance for another $5 or $10 on the upside. So around $12.40.
Wow, that's very interesting. Huh? That's amazing. Did I? Was
Bruce Hannan?
Was it my eyes or what? Did I see that Branson resigned last night?
Yes. He was very much a front man, just so that you understand. I mean, he made a chunk of money and everything, but he was not quite as big as, it appeared. And he did step down yesterday.
Oh.
And I'm not sure that didn't have something to do with the fact that, that he maybe blew the hyperlink deal with the Saudis.
I want to introduce Bruce Hannan, Hannan, of Innovative Media Group, INMG. I want to introduce him to everybody. And
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. He's going to give a little discussion on his company, Charles, and Greg, and Diane.
Oh, well, that's
Pleased to meet everybody.
Yeah, Bruce, welcome aboard. And Diane, welcome aboard. Michael and Charles have talked a lot about you recently, and hopefully we'll have you in studio soon. That's great. Welcome all. All right, Bruce, tell us about your company.
Yeah, so on the stock market, we're traded under Innovative Media Group, INMG. We're just in the process of doing a name and symbol change, and Demand Brands, Inc. is actually the name of the new company. And so basically the management team has got a long history in the consumer packaged goods. We're Canadian, most of our group anyway, and started out in the meat snacks and pepperoni sticks and that. Grew the company quite big. We got bought out by another public company, Premium Brands. And so we've got a big focus now on the hemp and CBD, cannabis industry, and the edibles and health products, that type of thing. We just, see a lot of synergies with our, our past and distribution and that kind of thing. So that's
what
kind
was
of
your
what we're
symbol
up to.
Again?
It's INMG is the current symbol.
IN, like in November.
Yeah. Correct.
And then M is in
For
Michael.
like Innovative
and G is in
Media
George.
Group. Correct.
Okay, now is that traded in the U.S. as well, or just in Canada?
It's just on the U.S. exchange right now on the OTC.
Oh, okay, on the OTC. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been living down in the States now for 2 or 3 years, and so yeah, we are, we've got lots of contacts and that down here. So we're just building out our brands, and the goal of the company is to, continue to build our own brands and make some strategic moves with some other companies and brands that have a focus on the health and wellness industry. And again, it is, obviously a big focus on CBD, but there's lots of other natural products in that certainly have some major health benefits as well. So, some of our ideas is to, bring CBD into that mix and some of the formulations and that. So I guess, kind of having the shiny sports car with the already some scientific backup and that kind of thing, and, adding in the benefits of CBD onto the product. And, just bring a little more health to the world for sure.
So how close is that?
So your
CBD?
your focus is healthcare?
Yes, correct. So more, into like chiropractors, the physicians, the health food stores, juice bars, fitness centers is where, some of our brands fit now. And then obviously, bringing in, other products that can also, benefit, those other brands or whatever, other products to be able to add into those chains and that kind of thing. So like maybe if there's a chain that we're doing, a beverage line or something into, we'll be able to bring in, some of the supplements and capsules and things like that to just to increase, our sales under that brand.
So, Bruce, are you in like Whole Foods or other natural markets like that around the United States?
I mean, that certainly would be in our target market.
Okay.
To get into chains like that, absolutely.
And where are you guys headquartered?
Our office right now is in Long Beach, California, and we're working right now with some facilities. Obviously, the goal is to work with facilities that have their certifications, the GMP, and that. There's a lot of products out there in the CBD world that currently aren't made in certified facilities, and certainly that's where I see the industry going. So we want to stay ahead of the ball and just ensure that all of our products are made in facilities that cover all those bases.
Well, if you're in Long
Could
Beach,
you give a little bit more depth about what the actual products are?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the main products is tinctures that CBD is put into. So it's like an oil, and you can have different strengths depending on what your requirements and that is. We've got a line of gummies that we're coming out with, capsules, different supplements, and obviously there's a big push on the beverage type line or whatever. So
Right.
Certainly there's some discussions in that area. All natural beverages, that kind of
So
thing.
do you take somebody else's product and deliver it in your formulations?
I mean, we have looked at doing some white label products, but obviously some of the brands that we've discussed with and that we have or whatever are our own formulas, or we're taking something that they've already started and adding the CBD, infusing the CBD to that in those cases.
so now do all states in the United States accept like the new CBD standards or no?
I mean, certainly there's still some grayness in the area in regards to CBD. If it's made from the industrial hemp and obviously below 0.03% THC or zero, it's certainly where the law of the land kind of plays out or whatever. But I mean, certainly there's still more education in that's needed for people to see the true benefits of the CBD, and that it doesn't have the THCs. You're not getting the euphoria effect and that kind of thing. You're just getting the medicine, the cannabinoids and that everyone has in their body. So, but every day there's more information, more studies going out, and certainly the hype, more people are looking into it and studying up on it and can see what the benefits of it are.
So now are you looking at actual manufacturing in Southern California? Obviously Long Beach is a major seaport.
Yeah, it's I mean, we've talked with some facilities in California. There's a facility in Nevada that we're working with right now. So it's certainly, some of the facilities make different products or whatever. So, depending on what we're looking at doing or whatever would be, the facility we'd look at. Obviously, if their specialty is in beverages and that, it could certainly be outside of California or Nevada.
So you're doing actually the, I'm trying to remember what it's called for the formulations.
Like the extraction and that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we buy the product that's already been extracted. So, either a distillate, which is the oil, is like a full spectrum oil. So we get that's already been processed. Or
So are
isolate,
you like the
which is in a
compounders?
powder form.
Are you
sorry?
more like a compounder?
Well, I mean, we buy the the CBD or the supplements and that, in raw form, and then formulate it and have it processed and made into a final product.
So now, how are you marketing this? Is it through chiropractors or acupuncturists, or how do you do this?
Yeah, I mean, we have a platform, and obviously, we're lined up to do trade shows in those niche markets, whether it's to the chiropractors, to the pet industry, whatever. That's certainly going to be one of our main focuses is building that network, and then through some of the companies that we'll be looking to do some joint ventures and that with, build off the platform that they already have. Certainly if they have some weaknesses in their marketing and that's where we'll come in. Obviously, social media and the proper influencers in the health and wellness industry, doctors and that are certainly recognized in the industry and that, working with them. So that's the vision here, and obviously what we've been working on the past several months to achieve.
That's very interesting field. It's I don't know, Charles. You think the time is right for it? I mean, it seems like things are rolling in that direction.
Yeah, they sure are.
The stock symbol is INMG, trading at about a half a penny.
Correct,
So
and then
price.
the corporate structure of the company. There's 340 million shares issued and outstanding. So certainly we have a well-structured company, and of the foundation of our company. I mean, we're guys that roll up our sleeves and get to work and make a brand happen. We're here to build a real strong business, and obviously, when you have that and your revenue's growing and you're in a market that, the eyeballs and that are on, certainly everything else should fall into place once you have that sound foundation is certainly what we're looking at.
I know.
And then obviously our newly formed relationship with Global Tech Industries there, and David and his group. They certainly have some of the same visions and, history in the consumer packaged good industry. So, we're looking at certainly excited at continuing to build our relationship with them as well.
Well, tell us a little bit about them as well.
Yeah, so David's company, it's GTII, is their symbol. And
GTII, Global Tech.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
And we've been having some discussions for several months, and just see certainly where some synergies and the experience in the industries that we've both been in make sense to try and do some more together, and that's kind of the main thing. They're a good group, good experience, and it can only add to our synergies and helping to propel both companies forward.
Oh, it certainly is interesting. You're not getting the same. When you say that, what was the number? Lower than 0.03 for the THC.
Yeah, in the THC or whatever. So a lot of the products.
So does that allow you to sell everywhere here, whether or not that? It shouldn't really matter. That's the guidelines that are used. So again, it's just some more education that people understand that
and a lot of our products, I mean, you know, they're extracted down to where it's 0%. So you know, it's you know, as far as someone having to get tested or whatever, there's no chance of that. And yeah, I mean, there's other supplements in that you know, have some great benefits too that we're working with and working on, and yeah, we're just excited to get going here and keep building, and you know, the learning and the education and that, so people really understand what, you know, the benefits of these supplements and natural products.
I know we've had several companies that, you know, had started on the OTC and then are either going to the New York or going to NASDAQ. Are you eyeing a move like that down the line?
I mean, for sure, our plan will be to, you know, go through our audit and get uplifted here in the next few months. For sure, that's obviously the goal to get done. Absolutely.
Wow, this is interesting, and it's so what?
And we've got, you know, obviously Canada is our ties and where we started from and that. So, you know, certainly beyond the U.S. and, you know, a focus on Canada and other international markets in the future. You know, we're certainly, that's the goal here, and feel that it's, you know, with some of our relationships and that it's going to be achievable.
Yeah, and so do you sell any, like, direct-to-consumer on a website of yours, or?
We're just building out a site where we'll have a brand that will be direct-to-consumer, but again, most of our focus is on, you know, to the industry experts and that, and some niche markets.
So I know you mentioned like Whole Foods might be a goal down the line, but like, you know, we have some locally owned nutrition stores here, and some do sell some of the oil. Is that something that you can get into, like some of the little local outlets?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, you know, distributor networks that sell into the independent chains.
Yeah.
And there's, certainly there's, you know, trade shows and that, like Unify is one of the biggest, you know, distributors, if not the biggest in the U.S. that would sell to a majority of those independent stores and that. So certainly getting listings with Unify and that would be, you know, a goal for us to work on, and to be at the trade shows and supporting through them for sure.
Wow, that's fascinating. I'm glad you could be with us here on the show, Charles.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Some questions here?
No, I mean, I think it's pretty well covered. So, and where are you located again, David?
Our office is out of Long Beach, California.
Ah, right. Okay.
And what is your opportunity to be an alternative, say, to an opioid, which is causing a real crisis in America today, to give people an alternative for pain relief?
I mean, there's several studies or whatever on CBD and you know, how it's getting people off of the opioids. It's, you know, there's many studies on pain relief, PTSD. Obviously, there was the drug that was just approved by the FDA for the epilepsy. So I mean, there's a strong movement and a push to make this happen, and knowing what all the benefits of this do cover. But certainly, you know, there's studies on the opioids, and I can certainly get some references, some websites and that to you, Mike, if that could go onto your site
please.
or whatever. But
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's massive, absolutely, and it's a natural product, right? So that's where our why we're so excited about it or whatever, that it's actually something natural. It's not a synthetic, and it's, people are noticing it, the difference it makes. I've had personal experience, so it's very exciting.
So you have to produce it in Canada, right?
No, in the U.S. here. I mean, obviously you can do it in, it can be done in Canada too or whatever, but yeah, the products we use is from USA grown hemp, and it's, it's manufactured and extracted and everything in the USA here.
And how long have you been doing this? How long has the company been around?
I mean, we've been working at it here for about the last year, I guess.
Uh-huh. And what kind of sales?
Yeah, and then it was just in July that we made our deal with Innovative Media Group. So that was July 17th. So just over 3 months ago. And
what kind of gross sales do you have?
I mean, we're minimal sales right now, Mike. To be honest, it's been a lot of research and development and the formulations and that up to this point, but we're ready to roll here for sure.
That's great.
So now, are you planning on any major shows coming up here in the next few weeks to highlight?
Yeah, there was a big show I saw on CNBC yesterday.
There's the sorry, Mike. There's the MMJ show, which is, I think, November 14th and 15th in Las Vegas. I mean, we're not, we'll be at the show just wandering around, seeing some of the people we know or whatever. We don't have a booth set up at that one, but, certainly there's some good educational seminars and new products and developments and technologies that'll be shown at that show.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
So we'll certainly be looking for you there.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's where you're from, Mike.
Right. Yes.
Mike, any more questions?
That's at Bally's, right? That's going to be at Bally's.
Yes. Correct.
Right. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for being with us, and boy, best of luck to you. I think your timing is really good.
I agree, guys. It's a very exciting time. We're looking forward to rocking and rolling here for sure. And I appreciate the invite to be on the show.
You bet. And the stock symbol again is INMG. Is that right on the OTC?
INMG.
INMG, yeah.
Correct, guys.
Perfect. All right. Hey, thanks a million for being with us.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Okay. All right.
All right. Bye now.
Bruce Hannan.
So the market has continued to sell off. We're now down 535 on the Dow.
Ouch.
And the S&P is down 60. S&P is down 62, and the Nasdaq is down almost 200, which is the big loser on the day. That's about 2.6%. That's a big move for an index that has been down 12 of the last 14 days.
Well, this is much more than a normal seasonal sell-off.
Well, I mean, if you look at what it's about, there are three stocks that are over 300 points in the Dow. Caterpillar is down almost 13 at 116. Amazon is down 66 to 1,700. Boeing is down almost $10 to 346. I mean, you're getting a lot of action. Apple down $5 to 215. Microsoft 106 down almost $4. So yeah, it's a very substantial sell-off. And as far as I can see, the only thing that is up in the Dow is McDonald's, up $10 at 177, 176. Three quarters of the stocks that have reported traded down on their, on their report.
Well, now wait a
minute.
minute.
Bad or indifferent. I mean, yesterday there was one. Trying to remember who it was because it was in the letter last night. Halliburton. Halliburton beat and gave okay guidance, and the stock is down from 63 to 50, I believe, in that neighborhood. So, even the ones who are beating, I guess, are not beating by enough in order to have up days. This is the low for the last 4 or 5 months that we're trading on right now.
Well, could the Halliburton thing be kind of a Saudi spillover?
It might be, but the fact of the matter is, it's really difficult to have a bull market without the two main groups. And the two main groups in this market, aside from the FANG, I'm talking about real operating, industrials, or the two main groups are the banks, so financials, and Goldman Sachs is down almost $7 at 214. That's another 3%. And it was down 6 yesterday, I believe. But if you don't have energy and you don't have financials, it's really hard to have any kind of a real market. This is a theme that we talked about for 2 years before, while we were having rallies and pretty big pullbacks, because, like I said, it's really difficult to have a strong market without those two groups. And they're horrendous right now. I mean, oil is down almost 3%. And so that whole group, including the drillers, including the Halliburtons and Schlumbergers, which are really oil services, and Rig, which is, another one there that does a fair amount of service-type business, it's just tough for the market to move without those.
So now, Charles, what month is this?
October.
So don't I remember something happening in 1987 that was
Yeah, and in
like
1989.
Rocktober.
But see, the problem, the issue with October is that the market usually bottoms in October. I mean, it gets very, it gets very volatile, and it's kind of the setup for the rally into the year end. The thing that you have to be concerned about, and the thing that I think is important right here, is the fact that supposedly the consumer has a high degree of confidence and not too much debt. And so, this is a big shopping season. Yesterday, with the market looking as crappy as it did then, I didn't have a single one of the stores or brands that I follow down on the day. It was absolutely green. There was nothing in, with the exception of Sears, which was down about 10 or 12 cents, which at this point is about 20%. With the exception of them, all of the retail and the store and the brands, I was looking at it yesterday. The stores were up. Macy's was up about $0.50. Nordstrom was up. The only one, like I said, that was down was, good old Terminal Sears, who I guess, their plan, they can become profitable if they just close all of the stores.
Wait a minute, back up. What?
Yeah, every time they close stores, their stock gets a little bit of a bounce. They are the poster child for, we're not making any money, but we make up for it in volume. And even that, I mean, they have made, he has made an incredible mess of that company by selling off all of the good assets. It's like the guy who is trading in the market. The market goes down, so he sells all the ones that are working to support all of the ones that aren't working. And that's kind of what, they're doing at Sears. I mean, first they sold off Craftsman.
Yeah.
To Stanley Black & Decker. Then they sold off Land's End They're closing stores.
I didn't know they had
thing,
a stake in Land's End. Really?
They owned it.
They owned it. Really? I thought
Yes.
was thinking that was just a nice little New England company. Really? Okay.
Yeah, no. And they also they made a deal on the positive side, or so it seemed, with Amazon for Sears Automotive to be the fulfillment location for tires and rims and batteries and stuff that are bought online through Amazon. The only thing they really have left at this point is Kenmore, and Kenmore is now on Amazon. So,
But
I heard somebody saying Kramer, I think, one of my least favorite people. I heard Kramer saying that the difference was that the chairman and CEO from Lowe's, Kramer went into a Lowe's and thought it was a little messy and stuff, and he texted or put it out on Twitter.
Oh no!
And he got a call from the CEO of the company, and the CEO informed him that he was going to the stores and has in the past gone to stores and made sure that they're clean and well run and well stocked. And Eddie Lampert, on the other hand, said he's never been concerned about the stores. He's been concerned about the branding, and kind of it shows.
Well, now didn't they sell off Kenmore to Whirlpool at one point?
I don't think so.
Or was it the other way around? They may have bought Whirlpool or something. I don't know what the deal is, but wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's literally the last thing. That's the last reason to go into a store.
Yeah. Well, we got about 15 minutes left, and I've run into several people over the last 6 months, and the question they have: what exactly do Mike King and Charles Moskowitz do? So, kind of explain what the whole money info, the newsletter, and Charles, you're trading exactly what you do.
Yeah. Well, we write the letter, and it's very informative. And I write a daily note, which is a synopsis of everything that has gone on, or, the high-profile things, as well as, watching for new stocks, new companies with new ideas that we can introduce both in the letter and on the radio. And, of course, we have the trading. This is the worst year that I have had in several, and we're up 62% or 63%.
Oh God!
Last year we were up well over 200%.
Holy smokes!
The year before we were up, I don't remember, 140%.
Yeah, it was way up there. Yeah.
And basically, what we do is, I don't buy breakouts. In other words, what I like to do is I like to buy support or sell resistance. So basically, I'm trying to buy, most people will tell you that they have, kind of the buy high, sell higher kind of thing. That is not what I do. What I do is I tend, as I said, to buy support, which means that I'm not paying up for anything. I'm trying to find the inflection points. Right now, I have been a buyer of CTL, which is CenturyTel, but I don't buy it. I mean, I was buying it at 18 and 19, and then when they reported earnings and the stock ran up, I was a seller at that. I gave it a couple of days, but I was a seller there. And the reason for that is when you deal with options, which is mostly my focus, when you deal with options, you have time premium and you have intrinsic value. So the best way for me to explain that is, let's say that you wanted to trade the S&P, for example, the SPYs. So right now the S&P is right around 270, and the options are about $1.85. Well, those are the 272, so they really don't have any intrinsic value, and they expire in a couple of days. But down here, down almost $5 in the SPY, and almost $3 in the options, we are very, very close to support. And support is just basically, there's nothing mystical about technical analysis and charts. They are just snapshots of what has happened. So if I know that the S&P has bottomed at 268, 269, 270 in that area 2 or 3 more times, then I can buy in that area, and if it breaks, I'll be out. On the other hand, if I see the S&P running up, sometimes I'll just let it go and not participate. The reason for that is, if I'm buying it on the way up, then I don't have a stop to be able to say, okay, at this point, I'm wrong. So basically what I'm doing is being terribly risk adverse. And because I have found you have to protect your stake, but the fact of the matter is, if you keep the losses small, the wins kind of take care of themselves. I've never seen anybody who, had a couple of good trades and had made a bunch of money on them that had a problem. The problem is when, you're trading and something goes wrong with your trade, which is, happens probably on more than half of my trades. But the fact is, if you keep the risk low and you let those profits run, I know that it sounds very cliched, but I have just found that that's the best way for me, for my trading, for my theory. And I spend a lot of time looking at the charts and a lot of time trying to figure out which is the best option to buy. And so, that's pretty basically what we do on the trading side. And we also do investor relations for public companies that need their story told. And, of course, over the last several years, we've had a bunch of great companies come on, and the stocks have acted really well. And Mike and I have in the past done the Money Show, which is a trade show for individual investors. And we've introduced a bunch of small companies that have worked out really well.
Yeah, I think that's a fascinating part to your business that, you hear about the money shows, and I'd love to see one. I've never been, and I think that would be exciting.
Well, there are a lot of CEOs who say, well, I'll just build the company and the stock will follow. Not so true. Not so true at all. In fact, I'm more comfortable when I talk to a company who's a prospect or a new client. There are a couple of things that I deal with. First of all, there's if you want to be taken seriously as a real company, then you have to act seriously like a real company, and give information and set, some sort of time and accomplishment line, so that you can really quantify whether or not the company is doing well. I know that it's been a long time since we had any business with them, but one of those companies, an oil company in Texas, and I can't remember the name of it right now, we used to have them on all the time. Well, first they told us what they were going to do. Oh, Lucas, that's who it was.
Oh,
And
yeah,
we had
I
them
remember
on the
that.
show 100 times, yeah. But the fact of the matter is, the stock was a couple of bucks, and they came on and they said, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And 6 months later, they'd come on, and the stock would be up 20 or 30% because they told us what they were going to do, they told us how they were going to do it, and they delivered. So, when we do IR with a new company, it's very important for them to understand that we're trying to craft a story that shows that the company can be worth dramatically more, and we need to get that story out. Those are the main steps in that particular side of the business. I mean, it's managing expectations.
Yeah, boy, I just think back on, a bunch of companies that you've had that have been so successful, and just the people that have been involved in this show over the 16, 17 years that you've been on have really been so insightful. I think of just Tim, just as, in the oil area, my goodness, he's amazing, and every time he used to come on, he'd break news. So yeah,
right,
yeah, I think that's perfect.
Yeah, but you need to put the stuff. When I say you really need to look for holders of the stock the same way that you advertise or sell what you make. It's almost as important once you have a company that is manufacturing and making money to make sure that the stock goes into strong hands. Again, trying to explain to people what the long-term outlook is for something, and then doing what you tell them you're going to do and being successful on it. It's almost like you have to target your shareholders the same way you target the buyers for your product. I never mind when a stock, when people will be trading a stock for a little bit. The guy who buys the stock for $1.25 and sells it at $1.60, and walks away from it. That actually does not bother me in the least, because that produces liquidity. But I still want to find people who like the story, and that's why the Money Show is so important, because the Money Show is people who do their own trading who are looking for the next big story, and you try and provide that to them. And so, you try and have institutional holders, you try and have just very big blocks of stock put away, because really the bottom line on the market is like the bottom line on any other business. It's supply and demand. And when you have a company that, you can show there will be demand for, at that point, the rest of it takes care of itself.
Yeah, it's amazing. We learned so much at the Broadcasters Convention just a few weeks back. And, you think about radio as a business that is changing pretty dramatically. And, I mean, the aspect now that we're on Alexa, we're on Google Home. Actually, I shouldn't say that too loud. I've got a Google phone sitting next to me.
Yeah,
it'll pull up the radio station. But it is funny how the industry has changed so dramatically. But what we have been seeing is the fact that millennials, who they're just they're married to their phones, right? Well, they're listening to the radio. I was with all of our basketball players last night, and they're listening to this radio station, as an 18-year-old, and I'm thinking, wow, but it's on their phone, the new transistor radio, So yeah, it's amazing. So you just have to kind of keep reinventing yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, but boy, I'm glad to have you guys back. And Michael, any closing thoughts? We just have a couple minutes left.
Well, October is true to form. It took a long time. For the first half of the month, one would doubt whether October is going to have a sell-off after all. But October has been the most volatile month of the 12 months almost every year. And it's continuing true to form now.
Okay, so what happens in November then? Is this going to continue or what? See, the tariffs are the new wrinkle
It never
now.
continues. October is always the most volatile, and then it calms down in November.
Interesting. Okay. Hey, well, guys, thank you so much for being with us, and thanks for bringing Bruce Hannan to us, because that was a wonderful gift, to say the least, with INMG, a new company.
Yes.
And, boy, that should be very interesting to see their progress as they're utilizing you guys from the investor relations perspective. Michael, Charles, everybody, have a good day. We'll see you next week. You've been listening to Money Info from Princeton Research with Mike King in Las Vegas, Charles Moskowitz in Boston. Don't forget that newsletter. Comes out every Sunday night. Boy, is that valuable. Of course, Charles does his own updating throughout the week. This is WPSL, Port St. Lucie, WSTU Stewart, WPSL on Alexa, WPSL on Google Home.